Mr. Gustafson, please bring forth your first witness. Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is my privilege to be here before you today to present my client for your consideration. We will be focusing on one aspect of my client so that you can see with your own eyes the merits and flaws of my character so that you can determine for yourself if you would also like to consider my client for your own interests. My client will serve as the first witness. If you prefer, a witness of character.
Hello everyone, I am Rob, your favorite character attorney, and this is my legal assistant Magic. Sometimes illegal. But we are here to show you something a little special today, as I'm shooting this on the afternoon of a lovely, very lovely Easter afternoon. I thought that I would break from the path that we have been going along and show you something a little different. We have explored earlier on with my first character witnesses, Twilight 2000, first and second edition. And then we broke and went to Dungeons & Dragons, going from the earliest days of Dungeons & Dragons, and as of current count, we are up to second edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. Certainly a edition with a lot of tenure. And never fear, we will get to 3rd edition and 4th edition and the current edition, which is 5th edition. You come here. But I thought I'd show you something a little different today. And that different thing is going to show you the process that I'm going to use to make my very own 5th edition character to play. Now, 5th edition is a bit different from 1st edition, 2nd edition, 0th edition, especially in the way that I'm going to do it. You see, those editions basically were the ones that I kind of learned to roll the dice and see what character I got. I didn't game plan ahead of time what character I was going to end up with. As a result, I didn't get a lot of chance to try paladins or other classes that required a number of high numbers most of the time. I think I got in a bard and a ranger, and that was it for things that had requirements. But after that, it became much more in vogue to choose the character that you wanted to play. Race was no longer a determination of, what you could play because of the stats that you rolled. The same one with classes. All classes were on the table. Now, down the road, you would have prestige classes and things in 3rd edition, but after 2nd, you could pretty much do anything with any sort of stats. You didn't have experience bonuses for high stats anymore. You would have... Hi! Well, you don't want to be cuddled that way, huh? But you would have a wide open field for whatever you felt like playing, although you generally would still try to match up your best stats for whatever was considered the prime requisite for the class that you were going to play. You want down? Okay. So, in this version, my Dungeon Master has already made his ruling on how we're going to create our characters. Those characters are going to have what's considered the standard attribute array of attributes. So no rolling for them. Everybody will have the same array, which is a base of one stat at a 15, one at a 14, one at a 13, one at a 12, one at a 10, and one at an 8. So you had one that was weak enough that you wouldn't that you would actually get a slight penalty in that statistic. You would have a couple that have bonuses, and you would have one that has a chance of having a fairly good bonus. Consider that almost all of the races give you bonuses to your attribute. In fact, I believe all of them do. Then, wherever you put your statistic, you should have at least one or two very good statistics, depending on the race that you choose and what you prioritize. So, a little bit of the wind out of my sails. I do enjoy rolling a character, but I'm fine with it. Every Dungeon Master has that kind of ability to make those determinations. In addition, he's already let us know that it's going to be a bit of a tough go. Why? Because he said each of us can start out with a feat as well, which means if you have played 5th edition, a feat is a special ability that you have that demonstrates a great deal of training and study and things. It usually gives you a small advantage outside of what you're already given because of your class and your background and things like that. Now, I will still be doing a 5th edition character witness. This is not the stand-in for the character witness, because I'm going to do a few things differently that I don't do in a character witness. Number one, I'm going to use books outside of the basic player's handbook. I recognize that it's not important to be able to do so. As a matter of fact, the character that I'm going to create, I possibly could create a more powerful character, within the scope of just the main book. The race that I'm going to choose is out of a different book, and it's possibly could be a better choice in the player's handbook, but I kind of have a concept in mind for this. And that basically is really what this all boils down to. It's in earlier editions, you roll and you come up with a character. In this edition, you come up with a character and then you roll or assign attributes or what have you. The first thing that you do is pick a race, and then your class, and then you see what you roll or assign attributes. So it's a bit different, clearly. In our game, we're also going to use backgrounds. We're going to use, as I said, feats. Feats are technically optional. We're using them, and the Dungeon Master likes them so much that, as I said, everybody is going to start out with at least one. He has kind of abolished the alternate human path, so now the humans just have +1 to all of their stats, which is pretty strong. It's really strong, actually, if you're already getting a feat involved. But instead of that, we're going to make a character that I conceptualized a while ago. I thought, wouldn't this be fun? And well, we're going to make it together. So you and I, let's make my character. Alright friends, here we are. We have character sheet. And I went with an expanded character sheet that I got off of the Wizards of the Coast website. It has spells, which I'm really not expecting to use. But I'll sure that I'll have spellcasting friends who can use another sheet, so that'll be fine. But the basic 5th edition character sheet has pretty much everything you need to refer to on the front page, and all of your extra note-taking and things can be on the back. We have the basic attributes, skills, saving throws, so that you can instantly see those numbers as soon as you need them. Chart right in the center of the sheet for your weapons, or your most common spellcasting attacks, your armor class, your hit points, your initiative bonus, speed modifier, reminders of the personality traits of your characters to help roleplay, your cash, your traits and abilities that you get from your classes, and proficiencies. The section for equipment is rather small, so quite often is supplemented by writing on the backs of the sheets or on the second sheet. The second sheet does have spots for treasure, additional features and traits that spill over from the first sheet, allies and organizations for your own notes, character's appearance, that could be a description or it could be a picture. I may end up drawing a picture for this character down the road, and character backstory, a decent section given to that, which is nice. And this is a useful thing for drawing an emblem or a heraldry or what have you. So, I have already given the consideration and I've conceived of this character already, so there's not going to be any surprises. As a matter of fact, I have it open directly to the race that I am contemplating. This is from Volo's Guide to Monsters. The Goliath from Volo's Guide. The Goliath, to me, is an interesting character. Number one, I've never played one before. They're relatively new. Although they were in 4th edition, they may have been in 3rd edition, although I don't recall them. But Goliaths are very tall, very strong humanoids that generally live in high climates. In like mountaintops and rugged ranges like that. They prize fair play, competition, and endurance. They are a tough and proud people. but they are brutally rugged. They are, in some cases, somewhat barbaric. They believe that if you cannot pull your weight within the tribe, you are left behind to die. Which we, civilized folks may not really respect that much. But to the Goliaths, one's abilities are all. And you constantly are testing yourself against life and against fate and so on. So I like a lot of the ideas behind the character. And I think it'll be a good baseline for what I want with my character. So my race is going to be a Goliath. I only have one Goliath miniature, and this is what he looks like. Big brute, huge sword, very barbaric looking. Barbarians, of course, being the iconic fighting class that doesn't wear armor. So it happens, I'm also thinking about playing a barbarian, so this character figure will work out perfectly for what I'm imagining. Although I wasn't really thinking of him with a great sword, but we'll see. That's one of those things that, fate kind of can bring into your grasp. So we know kind of the background of the people and what they're like. And as far as names, they do have a variety of names. Every Goliath has 3 names. A birth name assigned by the newborn's mother and father, a nickname assigned by the tribal chief, and a family or clan name. So you think about it, if the tribal chief doesn't like you very much, he can give you a rotten nickname that you're going to be stuck with your entire life. Very important to stay on the tribal chief's good side. A birth name is up to 3 syllables long. Clan names are 5 syllables or more, an N and a vowel. Birth names are rarely linked to gender. Goliaths see females and males as equal in all things, and they find societies with roles divided by gender to be puzzling or worthy of mockery. So they're genderly uninhibited that way. To Goliath, the person who is best at a job should be the one tasked to do it. Goliath's nickname is a description that can change on the whim of the chieftain or tribal leader. So that means that what you're left with is oftentimes going to be tied in with whatever drove you to being an adventurer, not staying with the tribe. Most of these nicknames are going to be fairly derisive, I would think, unless you got out before they got a chance to change your name. So it refers to a notable deed, either a success or a failure, committed by the Goliath. Goliaths assign and use nicknames with their friends or other races, and change them to refer to an individual's notable deeds. So I'll be giving everybody nicknames. That'll be fun. So birth names, things like Anken, Eglef, Gakal, Gothak, Ilken, Keothi, Mavieth. So they use the full range of letters, vowels, and stuff. Geez. They use owls. I'm thinking Galhard. And you have to remember that names can be something that will stick with you for your life, so we'll go Galhard. I need a nickname, but not right now. We'll think of something as we go along the development. Last names. Long things. Gathakanathi. Ogolakanu. Calagiano. Thuliaga. Vaimelaga, Thunukalathi. I think we'll go with Vana the Katoi. Vanatha Katoi. Yeah. It's got a nice flow to it, so I think is important. Notice I'm doing all this before we assign anything with, races or with classes or anything. These are the things that are important in 5th edition. Goliath traits. Ability score increase. Your strength score is going to be up by 2 and your constitution up by 1. So, plus 2, plus 1, and I haven't even assigned anything yet. Good me. Age. Goliaths have lifespans comparable to humans. They enter adulthood in their late teens and usually live less than a century. So, I'm not diminished by age. Not going to live as long as an elf, though. That's fine. Alignment. Goliath society, with its clear roles and tasks, has a strong lawful bent. The Goliath sense of fair play, balanced with an emphasis on self-sufficiency and personal accountability, pushes them toward neutrality. My character is not going to be a stock Goliath. He's got a twist to him. So I am actually going to change that. He'll be neutral rather than lawful. And between good or bad, I think he'll go with good. And there'll be reasons for that, which I will get into as we go. Again, this all feeds into the concept I already have. He is definitely not going to be your stock Goliath, however. Size. Goliaths are between 7 and 8 feet tall and weigh between 280 and 340 pounds. My character is going to be huge on purpose, which I'm fine with. On the second sheet, they have the vital stats. Height is going to be 7 foot 10 inches. Weight is going to be 300. I like a good round number, 300 pounds. Age, late teens, huh? We're going to say 20 years of age. That will be fine. Your base speed is 30 feet. As of right now, it's 30 feet. Later on, that will change. In my path that I'm thinking of. Natural athlete. You have proficiency in the athletic skill. Yay! We'll just fill in the circle next to athletics. That's good. Stone's endurance. You can focus yourself to occasionally shrug off injury. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to roll a d12, add your constitution modifier to the number rolled, and reduce the damage by that total. After you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. So, it's kind of like preventative damage. Kind of like temporary hit points. So, Stone's endurance. Take 1d12 plus blank off 1 damage. Source per rest. So we'll fill that number in when we have our constitution. Powerful build. You count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you can push, drag, or lift. Nice. I understand this is going to require my character to be considered as the mule of the group. But sometimes, especially if you think outside of the box when you play, having an excess of strength is not a bad thing. For carrying, Even though I'm 7'10", I'm not considered a large creature. I'm still within the medium range. Carrying, pushing, or lifting. Or dragging, but no. Alright, so we're going to be able to handle a huge amount. Mountain born, you are acclimated to high altitude, reaching elevations up to above 20,000 feet. You're also naturally adapted to cold climates, as described in Chapter 5 of the DM's Guide. So, mountain born. Now, that does not mean that my character is resistant to cold. That I can still be frozen by a white dragon or a cone of cold or effect like that. What it means is that if I'm constantly being exposed to cold, like a blizzard or something like that, I have a resistance to the negative effects of it. So if, for example, everyone else is going to smother themselves in furs, I can get by in a light jacket. If it's a blizzard, I can probably survive 5 times as long as a normal person, just because of who my character is and what he's used to. So, and languages, you can speak, read, and write Common and Giant. In this section over here, this is proficiencies in languages, Giant, Common. All right, that's what my race gives me. So a number of advantages, but not a lot of distinct stock advantages. Now I told you that I'm going to be a barbarian for this character concept that I have. If we look back, and this is what I said when I'm actually less powerful than another class within the player's handbook, the half-orc, for instance, is himself custom-made for barbarians. They're brilliant for it. Their strength increases by 2 and their constitution increases by 1. That sounds familiar. They don't live as long, but in the term of your adventuring career, that doesn't matter terribly. They have the issue that other people don't trust them because of the orcish tendencies, and the fact there are a number of villains out there who are half-orcs, raiders and bandits and stuff. Very few people embrace the half-orc. Size, they're a little bit bigger, but they're not nearly as big as I am. That's fine. Speed's the same. They have dark vision. I don't have dark vision. Dark vision is a nice ability, but I don't have it. Menacing, you gain proficiency in the intimidation skill. That's a nice ability to have if you're the fighter type. I don't have that either. Relentless endurance, if you're reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you're instead only dropped to 1 hit point and you can keep fighting. That's a huge ability. That means a one-shot blast or what have you, no matter what, would have normally killed you. Well, you can still take excessive damage that'll still obliterate you, but a lucky shot, lucky critical that takes you down will still only drop you to 1 hit point so you can keep fighting. That's a huge advantage that has saved characters in the past. Savage attacks. If you score a critical hit with a melee weapon, you can roll one of the weapon's damage dice 1 additional time and add an extra damage to the critical hit. And it depends on how lucky you are, of course, how often that comes up, but that means that your criticals are absolutely brokenly destructive. So yeah, that's huge. Fighters who follow the champion path, who get an expanded critical range. I've seen a half-orc build for that. It's just huge. Very devastating. Languages, okay. So if I'd have stuck with a half-orc, I possibly could have been even a little bit more effective than my Goliath would be at barbarianship, but we're okay. I'm fine with this, because like I said, I've got some ideas because of the background and everything too. So we will go with a barbarian. Now, doing this, we go basically down the list and we look at all the different things they do. If you've played Dungeons and Dragons, or you've seen things like Conan. Conan was kind of a barbarian. He started as a barbarian. Eventually he got training as a warrior, took on training as a thief. Does a lot of everything. Except for wizardry, almost everything he comes across teaches him something new. And you can actually see that evolution in his character if you read through the literature. He eventually learns to ride horses as well as the Hyrcanians and use their lasso and their horsebow. Throughout all of the different races, he learns all these things and becomes a supreme warrior. In this case, we're just going to look at what makes a barbarian a barbarian. First of all, D12 hit dice per level. That's going to be, at first level, you start with maximum, so that will be, right now, 12, which I will write very lightly, because that's going to change. I'm going to have a Constitution bonus. Hit points at first level, you start with 12 plus your Constitution modifier. Hit points at higher level is 1d12, or you can take 7, which is just above the median point for a d12, if you don't want to roll and risk rolling lower, which is fine. Plus your Constitution modifier per level, which is cool. Armor, light armor, medium armor, shields. So that's under proficiency. Light and medium armor. Shields. Those are the armors that I can fit into and learn, and I can use. As you'll see soon, I may not even worry about that too much. Weapons, simple and martial weapons. Which is basically all the weapons in this book. That may come in handy. You will see as I keep going. Tools, none. I don't get to learn how to use tools. My background may teach me something in tools, however. Saving throws are in Strength and Constitution. We fill in Strength, and we fill in Constitution. That is what barbarians do. Skills, you get to choose 2 from Animal Handling, Athletics, which we already have, Intimidation, Nature, Perception, and Survival. I don't really see my character being an animal handler. That's something he may learn as he goes, but that's not really going to be my dig. My character is going to be a lot more self-absorbed and work on his own. So survival, certainly. And then it comes down to either nature, perception, or I already have athletics. Nature, perception, or intimidation. We'll definitely take survival. That's going to be very important for my character. And then nature, perception. My character is not going to have a great wisdom. That's probably going to be his dump stat. So maybe taking perception so I don't start off with a huge penalty might be a good thing to do. And I will attempt to learn the other skills because they could all be useful. Especially nature. Nature is the one that I'm kind of on the fence about. Intimidation, that's not going to be the personality of my character so much. Okay. Equipment. Okay. Let's add the stats in, shall we? Okay. So we have a 15 that we're going to put in. We're going to put in that 15 into the Constitution to make that my best stat. So that I will have a 16 Constitution, which is a +3. I will put my 14 in Strength, which will make that a 16. +3. And notice I'm writing in pencil. These can be erased. They will be modified as we go. I'm going to then put my 13 in Dexterity for a +1. I will put my 12 in Charisma, my 10 in Intelligence. He's not stupid, but an 8 in Wisdom, which I think will give me my nickname, Fool's Gold. Actually, Fool's Gold is iron pyrite. We're going to give the chief a little bit of learning, and I'll be called pyrite. Which is Fool's Gold, because the tribe will think my character to be very, very foolish. Dangerously foolish. Which is part of another reason why I will not be into the tribe. Not be welcome back. Those are all of the changes to my stats, so now the rest of the stuff I can fill in. Equipment. A great axe or any martial melee weapon. I'm fine with great axes. Great axes are fun weapons because they're so barbaric. I mean, it just kind of screams out your job profession, really. It's a huge weapon, used to cleave through armor rather than be used with any finesse. It's not subtle, and that's kind of what a Goliath barbarian is, not very subtle. So I'm fine with that. Two hand axes or any simple weapon. Nope, I don't like two hand axes. Two hand axes. Those will be, I plan on using those as my main weapons. The great axe, well, these weapons are going to change as you'll see when you hear my description of how my character is going to be. An explorer's pack and 4 javelins, so. And an explorer's pack. Down the road, I will break down everything that's in the Explorer's pack, but for right now, it's good just to know it's there. It's going to have your things like rope, pitons, food, a water skin, the kind of things your average person going out into the wilderness could use. So, I think it has torches rather than... It might have a lantern. Yeah, perhaps I'll look now. This is my second player's handbook because my first one fell apart and has now been basically taken by my wife. Which I'm fine with. Notice that a barbarian does not start with armor. There's a reason for that. We'll get into that in a second. But equipment packs. This was a brilliant idea, by the way, by 5th edition, to break down the most common loadouts that adventurers would have, give it a set price, and which was a slight discount on buying everything individually. Those who like to do that can still do it. There's a full table of all the different gear that you can get, and that'll only be expanded onto. But the Explorer's Pack has a backpack, a bedroll, a mess kit, tinderbox, 10 torches, 10 days of rations, and a water skin. 50 feet of hemp rope strapped to the side of the pack. Perfect. Torches rather than a lantern. Maybe down the road when I get to be a wealthy barbarian, I might get a lantern because they're a little more reliable. But I'm fine with that. That will be just peachy. Also, depending on my background, I might start out with a little bit of cash too if I need it. All right, the number one ability for a barbarian is Rage. Without Rage, you aren't really a barbarian. So, on your turn, you can enter a Rage as a bonus action. Important, it doesn't use up your action to do it. You have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. Note, that does not change your strength score, as it did back in 3rd edition. You merely get to do crazy things with strength and get advantage, so you can break out of grapples easily, dominate people, things like that. When you make a melee weapon attack using strength, you get a bonus to the damage roll that increases as you gain levels in Barbarian. So for right now, I believe that's a +2. Yeah, your Rage gives a 2 bonus. So, oh wait a minute, no. Yeah, Rage damage is +2, and I have 2 Rages per, is it long rest? But wait a second, there's more. Also, you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. That's useful as well. You do an extra, right now, it is advantage on strength checks, +2 strength well, we're just going to say +2 melee, because I'm not going to be using a great deal of dexterity-based weaponry. Not that my character is terrible, but no. +2, is that on melee? If you use a melee weapon attack using strength. I wonder if that includes throwing it. I would assume so. +2 on strength base attack damage. And that is in pencil so that can increase as needed. And another huge one, resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Resistance to physical damage. Basically, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing are the 3 kinds of physical damage. Everything else is some sort of energy attack. Acid, or necrotic, or radiant, or electric, cold, things like that. If you are able to cast spells, you can't use them while you're raging. Well, I'm not going to worry about that. Your rage lasts 1 minute. 1 minute. It ends early if you are knocked unconscious, or if your turn ends and you haven't attacked a hostile creature since your last turn, or taken damage since then. So if you keep taking a beating, your rage can continue. As long as you keep attacking opponents, your rage can continue. That is important. You can also end your rage on your turn as a bonus action. Once you have raged a number of times shown on your barbarian level, you must finish a long rest before you can rage again. 2 per long rest. Alright, so when it all hits the fan, I've got 2 times that I can use rage. That'll be nice. So it is one of those things where you have to know how to budget it. Since you have 2, one of them is kind of a throwaway. You can use it in an encounter that you think is going to be hard, and that this will either keep you upright, save you from taking excessive damage, or any of the reasons that you might have for wanting to be harder to hurt and be able to do more damage. The second time you would probably hold out for either desperation or the final fight. And as you go up levels, you get more rages, although it's a slow progression. 3rd level, you get 3 rages a day. 6th level, you get 4. 5 at 12th level. So yeah, you do get more, and your damage does go up. Eventually, when you get up to, 9th level, it gets up to +3. So that is going to be a relatively small thing, but it adds up, which is important. All of your attacks that hit get that extra damage. So, that's a big one. Unarmored defense. This is the fun one. Armor class equals Dex plus Con plus 10. So right now, buck naked, my character has a Constitution +3 and a Dexterity of +1, so he has a 14 armor class without anything else. That's not great. That's not fantastic. However, as his Constitution increases by levels, I think it's at 4th level he gets an attribute increase. It would be kind of silly of me not to think about increasing that Constitution and giving him that bonus. Could be pretty nice. And also, if I can find something to raise my Dexterity, that would also help my armor class out. Even if I don't wear a lick of armor. That also means that if I think about wearing armor, it has to have at least a +3 bonus for it to make any sense for me to carry it. There are medium armors that are better than +3. So something like breastplate I could wear and would be okay. But quite honestly, without anything, I'm doing all right. My defensive ability with the Stone's Endurance allows me to shrug off most of the effects of one hard hit. I'm a bit harder to hit than your average person walking around in their underwear. And with Rage, I get resistance to damage too. So considering that I also have 12 plus 3, so I have 15 hit points to start out with, which is not a tremendous amount, mind you, but for first level, it's about as good as you can ask for. So my character's pretty fearsome to start out with. Reckless attack. Starting at second level, you can throw aside all caution and concern for defense to attack with fierce desperation. When you make your first attack on your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly. Doing so gives you advantage on melee weapon attack rolls using strength during the turn, but attack rolls targeting you have advantage until your next turn. So, that is going to be a timely ability. I've seen what advantage can do, basically allowing you to roll 2 dice and take the better of the rolls. It turns a weak hit into a solid hit. It can turn critical failures into just simple failures or successes even. So, advantage to attack. Advantage to be attacked. Clearly, that's not something I would use while surrounded by foes. It's not something that I generally would use by myself, unless I absolutely I was contemptuous of the other person's ability to attack me, or, it was a truly desperate situation. But it does give me the ability to command advantage, which is a huge advantage. Also, it would be nice to be able to use it with party members who can enforce disadvantage on opponents, like say a bard with vicious mockery. Then I would be able to use reckless attack on that opponent, and at best they would get normal attacks on me, because disadvantage, which is rolling 2 dice and taking the worst of the 2, which is a side effect of vicious mockery, is negated by advantage. It's just they're canceled out. So, and a 14 armor class isn't terrible. If I can, what I want to do is get a shield at some point. That would give me a +2 to my armor class. A 16 is not bad. And I can use my unarmored defense while I have a shield too. Danger sense, that's at second level, but I get a uncanny sense of when things aren't as they should be, giving me an edge when I'm in danger. I'd have advantage on dexterity saving throws against effects that you can see. So unless I'm surprised, I get advantage on dexterity saving throws. That's very nice, considering I have a bonus to my dexterity, so I have a chance to make difficult saves. Traps and spells that I can see, so yes, very nice. You can't be blinded, deafened, or incapacitated, but if I'm aware of it, I can get it. And then at third level, I get a primal path, which is one of the directions that my character can follow. So as of right now, I'm done adding on everything that I need, but I do want to talk about the direction that I'm going to go. I have Xanathar's Guide to Everything, I have the Sword Coast Guide, I have options. But ultimately what I've decided for this is my character is going to follow the path of the Berserker. Because I like it, number one. It's effects. Again, these aren't going to take place until third level, but Frenzy, starting when you choose this path at third level, you go into a Frenzy when you rage. If you do so for the duration of your rage, you get an extra attack. That's at third level. So you get 2 attacks per round before the fighter gets his 2 attacks per round, which is nice. And they get on each of your turns after this one. When your rage ends, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion. So that becomes your real alpha strike. I need to take you down quickly. So that's huge. Now, if you're also going to use reckless attack with your frenzy, that would mean I would get 2 attacks at advantage on both. And I'd be having resistance, which is good because they'd have advantage on attacks against me. So those all add together and make the character a whirlwind of destruction. And then down the road, mindless rage. You can't be charmed or frightened while raging. And considering by that time I'll have 3 rages a day or between long rests, so that's nice. If you are charmed or frightened when you enter your rage, the effect is suspended. So if they charm me, and I'm like, oh, you're my friend, and then I see threats and I decide my instinct is to go rage, oh, charm is broken, or at least suspended, so I can go and attack as I would. Intimidating presence, at 10th level you can use intimidate. Okay, so there's some nice things to this, in addition to being a large angry barbarian. But I do like some of the advantages that they get outside of Primal Path. At 5th level they get an extra attack, which is nice. Fast movement at 5th level, they get an extra 10 feet in their speed, so 40. And considering that I can already carry a great deal because I'm a barbarian, I can pick up party members and run with them faster than they can go. So that'll be fun. By 7th level, your instincts are so honed you have advantage on initiative rolls. That's wonderful. And you can't be surprised, really. You can act normally in your first turn. If you rage, oh well. Brutal critical, at 9th level, you can add an additional weapon die to criticals. So basically you get the same advantage that half-orcs have, although those abilities stack. And at 13th level, that's 2 extra dice. At 17th level, it's 3 extra dice. So those hits can really, really hurt. And 11th level, relentless. So yes, barbarians are entertaining to play and think about. I'm only really going, again, in this tightly focused why I'm doing what I'm doing. Not going to go over all the other options that I'd had. That is for the 5th edition character witness that I'm going to do. So, personality and background. We already have a name, and I like the name. Sex, we're going to be male. I'm not opposed to cross-gender play, I just don't want to do it. At least not at this time. Class and level, Barbarian 1. Background. We already did height and weight. Languages. Your race dictates the language that you can speak by default. Your background might give you access to one or more languages. Nice. Personality traits, backgrounds, all the other fun stuff. Alright, so inspiration, we don't have inspiration right now. Backgrounds, we are going to go over backgrounds. Acolyte, no. Well, maybe, actually. My character is actually going to be devoted to a god. But this is going to be non-traditional to Goliaths, and I guess now would be a good time to explain what I'm thinking of. My character is going to be devoted to Timora, the god of luck, fortune, deception, and trickery. Basically, my character went through life as a normal Goliath, until one time a bad stroke of luck caused him to fall and shatter badly break his leg and foot. Because he couldn't keep up with the tribe abandoned him, and he was basically doomed to die up in the mountain peaks. However, even as his mobility was taken by an accident, he tripped, fell, and survived using his stone's endurance, but fell on top of a large mountain ram, which basically enabled him to kill it. And this was right in front of a cave, so he crawled into the cave using it for shelter and had all the meat from the dead ram that he needed. Eventually, he was able to set his leg, and it healed. And he came to the realization that his own strength and endurance wasn't enough. He needed a measure of luck to survive, and realized that in his mind, the Goliaths demand that each of them be look for fair situations, and it was foolish, because a bad stroke of luck can wipe away everything you've ever done. So he's now a follower of Timora. And how he expresses that is to basically not care about what's coming, not plan, just kind of go forward and trust that Timora will take care of him. And when he kills an opponent, he leaves the weapon that he killed them with the body and takes their weapon, trusting that Timora will give him a weapon to use when he next needs it. I don't know. It'll be an interesting concept. We'll see if I can stick with it when I'm leaving magical weapons behind. There will be one exception. He will keep the best weapon that he finds. And only the most I don't know, impressive or worthy opponents will be the one that he will use his best weapon for. And unless that weapon is getting upgraded, he is not going to leave that weapon behind. So that is the concept that I'm going with. He's also going to be a health/well-being nut. The kind of person who wants to make sure everybody else is doing the best they can to be the best them they can be. So he'll be the person when everyone else wants to go to the tavern and drink, he'll be like, but we could be drinking spring water and doing a 5-mile run, and that'll give you a high better than sitting in a tavern and drinking and getting fat and lazy. We'll see how that goes. I'll let you all know. So a charlatan, no, he's still not going to be that. I mean, he's certainly not going to be a criminal. Just not his thing. Entertainer, no, that's not going to go well. A folk hero might be interesting, in that other people respect what he does, but he's not going to be the most honorable guy, so I don't see it. Guild artisan, definitely not. Hermit, no, he likes to be around people, and he's not a noble. Outlander probably fits him the best, and the Barbarian Outlander is probably the most stereotypical matchup. Sometimes that works, though. Sage, he's not particularly intelligent. Although, you know, it wouldn't be too bad. Sailor, no. Rock Sink, not too interested in that. A soldier, again, barbarians don't make great soldiers, although he'd be a great line breaker. You know, the kind of person who, all right, we need to get through that shield wall. We need somebody to go through it, and the rest of you will follow through, and he could do that. Which might be entertaining, actually. Otherwise, Urchin, that doesn't really fit. Giving him sleight of hand or stealth as a 7'10" Goliath with sleight of hand is like, oh, I'm picking your pockets. You know I can feel you. I am a 7'10" Goliath, and I am picking your pockets. You don't feel me. I don't feel you. I think soldier will work. I don't really want to go looking through all the other exotic backgrounds and things. Although, to be fair, we do have the Sword Coast Guide. And they do have backgrounds there that fit Faerun, where we're going to be adventuring. So perhaps I better look at those real quick. Because none of these are really speaking to me, and this is the one thing I didn't look at very carefully. But we should be able to go through these pretty quickly. City Watch? No, I'm an outsider. Clancrafter? Definitely not. Cloistered Scholar? No. Courtier? Nope. Faction Agent? Maybe. There's a couple of good factions out there. Far Traveler? No, those are people from other planes, and that's definitely not me. Inheritor? No. Knight of the Order? Almost certainly not. Mercenary Veteran? Urban Bounty Hunter? Nah, that could be entertaining, actually. But, yeah, I don't know. And Uthgard Tribe member? I'm not a half-orc. And Water Davian Noble? Nope. Definitely not. The Mercenary Veteran sounds interesting, though. Especially, you know, believing in Tamora. And a mercenary company would be able to satisfy his wanderlust. I don't like the idea of him being a sellsword as much. That doesn't really strike me as something that would be particularly useful. A faction agent, on the other hand, could be useful. Especially if it was a group like the Harpers. My neutral good outlook would probably go well with the Harpers. That fits them pretty well. I think they sound interesting. I think we're going to go with that. Others would probably see my character as being fairly useful. You know, a muscle for other harpers when they need somebody who looks large and intimidating, and a Goliath is exotic enough that they could travel around and earn a little fame or infamy. I think we're going to go with that, actually. You served as an agent of a particular faction of Faerun. You might have operated openly or secretly, depending on the fact. My character probably wouldn't be open that he's a member of the Harpers. But an agent of the Harpers, I should say. So we're going to go faction agent. Now, for those of you who don't know anything about Faerun, Harpers are kind of what your, I don't know, generic adventurers kind of are. Busybody do-gooders who go all over the place and do all kinds of things, throw themselves at dangers that could otherwise, you know, destroy the world. That's what Harpers do. And I had no problem with the Harpers as a group. I think they could, it could be interesting to, you know, hear about the exploits and be steered in the right direction for adventures. So, now with the Harpers, skill proficiencies, insight. Nice. That's definitely something I didn't have. So, and I can tell when people are screwing with me, although it's wisdom-based, and I'm not very good at that. And the Harpers are also into... what is it? 1, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma skill of your choice is appropriate. Investigation. Intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. Investigation is based off of intelligence, which I'm not bad at, but I'd rather be into charisma. Which I at least have a +1 in. Yeah. Actually, since I have a little bit of a charisma, I think I'm going to go with deception, because sometimes it's good to be able to fool people that you're not really with a group, like the Harpers. So I now have 5 skills that I am trained in: athletics, deception, insight, persuasion, and survival. Not bad. Not bad at all. We have language, 2 of your choice. Let's see. I think Dwarven would be appropriate. The Goliaths and the Dwarves have similar areas of interest, and that could be very useful. What's another good language that I might have been run across? How about Terran? The language of earth elementals and earthkin. It seems to fit. I'm going along a theme here. Equipment, a badge or emblem of your faction. So we'd have a Harper's badge. Actually, it'd be a pin. They have pins that identify themselves. A copy of a seminal faction text, or a code book for a covert faction. Okay, Harper code book. Could be useful. A set of common clothes and a pouch containing 15 gold. Okay. So that's 15 gold. And common clothes. Common clothes for a Goliath would be huge. But that's probably my armor. Alright, so I have the background down. Now, looking at that, details about the faction agent. Normally, a lot of these classes and a lot of these, factions, feats, and features have different personality traits and things that, make them explain why are you there, what are you doing, what's your purpose. My personality trait is that I always want to be the best. And get better. Get even better. Ideals. Fair play. Is the only way. So again, this bleeds through from his Goliath background. They believe very strongly in competition and fair competition. But Tamora has to have free balance. Cheating tips the balance, and my character would absolutely have a problem with anybody who cheats, be it cheats death in undeath. I would absolutely hate the undead. I would not be able to stand anybody who I can detect cheating or scamming me. So, bonds. I want to see my friends maximize their potential. So this is where he's going to be like the life coach. He's going to be like, all right, what? I know it's still an hour before dawn, but, this is the best time to go for a run. No guards are going to get in our way. We have the run of the entire city, and sometimes things happen that are interesting that we might be able to help with. Flaws. Impulsive. That's one. Low wisdom. That's going to be a problem. Also, what personal space? Your business is my business. This could be a painful lesson for him to learn. All right. So, as a first level character, his proficiency bonus is +2. Eventually, that will increase as we go up levels, which is good. 16 strength is a +3. 13 dexterity is a +1. 16 constitution gives him a +3. A 10 intelligence is no bonus, no penalty. An 8 wisdom is a -1. And a charisma of 12 is a +1. That means that he has the -1 to his wisdom, but oops, he's not trained in persuasion, he's trained in perception. That's his barbarian background. He would be the hunter who starves because he couldn't see the rabbit. So he has a net of +1 to perception, which gives him an 11 passive perception. If I'm not specifically looking for things tend to sneak up on me. Which is fine, because my character is confident in his ability to adapt and survive. His proficiency bonus of +2, and he is trained in strength, so his saving throw versus strength attacks is 13, 14, that's +3, +4, +5. Not bad. Plus, when he's raging, he gets advantage on strength ability checks, so hopefully that wasn't a Goliath. Dexterity of +1, so my saving throws versus dexterity aren't that great. Constitution is trained again at +5. Intelligence is just no bonus, no penalty. Wisdom is -1. Charisma is +1. And yes, there are attacks through D&D that can attack any one of the attributes. So now, before we get the final things down, we're going to look at feats. Because we get one. And I might have a feat that might change an attribute or something. I should have probably done that first. Okay, these are the feats. We're going to look over a couple. Alert, I'm not too interested in right now. Athlete. Increase your strength or dexterity by 1. That's nice. Won't change any numbers, but... Actually, if I change my dexterity to a 14, it would go up by 1. Climbing doesn't cost extra movement, so I can go up as fast as I can walk. That's funny. You can make a running long jump or a high jump after moving just 5 feet. Not bad, but no. Actor, no. Charger, interesting, but no. Crossbow, no. Defensive duelist. I do have a 13 dexterity, so I can qualify for this. When wielding a finesse weapon, no. Dual wielder. I have 2 hand axes, and that is a style I'd like to use. That would give me a +1 bonus to armor class wielding 2 weapons. I can use 2 weapon fighting even when one-handed melee weapons aren't light. That's going to fit my 2 hand axes. You can draw or stow 2 one-handed weapons when you would normally only be able to do 1. That's pretty strong. Now, you can fight with 2 weapons, basically using your bonus action as an attack if you have the weapon in your other hand. I would get a bonus to my armor class. The only downside is that you don't get your strength modifier to damage with that attack. Dungeon Delver, no. Durable is also nice. Increase your constitution by 1, and when you roll a hit die to gain hit points, the maximum number of hit points is twice your constitution modifier. That's kind of nice. Maybe? We'll think about it. No. Grappler. I like that. You've developed skills necessary to hold your own in close quarters grappling. You have advantage on attack rolls against creatures you're grappling. Nice. You can use your action to try to pin a creature grappled by you. Repeat it. If you succeed, you and the creature are both restrained until the grapple ends, meaning they aren't going anywhere. Restrained, just to refresh, and why it is so bad for people who are restrained. Their speed becomes 0, cannot benefit from anything to its speed. Attack rolls against them have advantage. The creature's attack rolls themselves have disadvantage, and the creature has disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. So, yeah. And if I'm raging and I have advantage on those, then that means that, yeah, if I grab somebody, they're not getting free. I like it. Although I'm also likewise pinned, which is unfortunate. You can use your action to try to... Okay. Great Weapon Master sounds like a good thing, but honestly, I'm going to be able to picking up a wide variety of weapons, so I don't think that's going to apply as much. Healer, no. Heavily armed, no. I want to stay away from being heavily armored. So, no. Inspiring Leader? That would be funny. But no, we're not going to do that. That's a good one for bards, though. Keen Mind, ooh, raising your intelligence. You always know which way is north. You know how many hours are left before. Okay, so nice, a couple okay abilities, but not great. Lightly armored, you increase your strength or dexterity, and you gain proficiency. I already have proficiency with light armor. Linguist, no. Lucky. Boy, would this be appropriate. You have inexplicable luck that seems to kick in at just the right moment. You have 3 luck points. Whenever you make an attack, an ability check, or a saving throw, you can spend a luck point and roll an additional d20. You can choose to spend one of your luck points after you roll the die, but before the outcome is determined. You choose which of the d20s is used for the attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. You can also spend your luck point when an attack roll is made against you, and choose whether the attack uses the attacker's roll or yours. If more than one creature spends a luck point to influence the points cancel each other out. You regain your expended luck points when you finish a long rest. That's so tempting, considering my character's story. So tempting. I'm almost certain to get that one, actually. Mage Slayer, nice, but limited, no. Magic Initiate, no. Although, that is kind of funny. You could choose the class, and then you just learn 2 cantrips of your choice. So even as a barbarian, I could pick, Firebolt, or Sacred Flame, or things like that. It's kind of funny. I'm not going to, though. Martial Adept, you have martial training that allows you to perform special combat maneuvers. Basically, it's a junior battle master, which, no. Medium armor, no. Mobile, your speed increases by 10 feet, no. My speed's already going to be fast. Moderately armored, no. Mounted combatant, no. That's poor horses. Observant, increase your intelligence or wisdom by 1 to a maximum of 20. If you can see a creature's mouth, you can understand what it's saying, and you have a +5 to your passive wisdom or passive intelligence scores. Ooh, that's nice too. That's not what I'm going to take, but it's nice. Polearm Master, no. Resilient. Increase an attribute by 1, and then you gain proficiency in saving throws using the chosen Ooh. I could increase my dexterity to a 14 and get saving throws, advantage on saving throws against dexterity, for instance. Or wisdom. Cover up a weakness. Oof. That's kind of nice. Ritual Caster, no. Savage Attacker. Once per turn, when you roll damage with a melee weapon, you can reroll the weapon's damage die and use either total. It's okay. Sentinel, nice, but no. Not my character. Sharpshooter, no. Shield Master, you use shields not just for protection, but for attack. You can attack on your turn. You can use a bonus action to shove a creature 5 feet of you with your shield. If you aren't incapacitated, you can add your shield's armor class to your dexterity. Saving throws that you make. Ooh. But one that targets only you. Okay. If you are subjected to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw to take half damage, you can use your action to take no damage if you succeed on the save. Ooh. That's really nice. Too bad it doesn't give more of a bonus to your armor class, though. Skilled, you gain proficiency in 3 extra skills or tools of your choice. No. That's something that you can actually do in between adventures. Learn how to use different skills and abilities, though. Skulker. You're good at slinking through... No, that's not me. Spell Sniper, no. Tavern Brawler is also interesting. Increase your strength or constitution by 1. You are now proficient with improvised weapons. Nice. Your unarmed strike is a d4 for damage. When you hit a creature with an unarmed strike or improvised weapon, you can use a bonus action to grapple them. Oh, that is so tempting, too. Also tempting, Tough. Your hit point total increases by an amount equal to twice your level when you gain this feat. Whenever you gain a level or hit points, you get an additional 2 hit points. So I could get an extra 2 hit points and an extra 2 every level. Also tempting. And finally, Weapon Master. Your strength or dexterity goes up by 1, and you gain proficiency with 4 weapons. I'm already good with all weapons. I think we're going to go with Lucky. Oh, yes. Lucky. Harper Agent. Lucky. 3 d20s for rerolls. So I can use those to cancel out criticals that come in on me. I can use those when I really need to hit somebody. Tamora approves. What can I say? Okay, so that didn't change any of my abilities or attributes or anything like that, so we can keep going. Acrobatics, +1 because of my dexterity. Animal handling is wisdom based, so animals don't like me very much, -1. Arcana, which is intelligence based, 0. Athletics, which is strength based, that's +5. Deception, which is charisma based, which I am now trained in, that's +3. History, that's no bonus. Insight, which is based off of Wisdom, which is only a +1. Intimidation, which is Charisma based, that's still +1. Investigation, which is Intelligence based. That is +1. Or no, that's 0. Medicine, which is Wisdom based, -1. Nature, which is Intelligence based, nothing. Perception is a net +1. Performance, +1. Persuasion, which is Charisma based, which is only +1. Religion, which is Intelligence based, no bonus. Sleight of Hand, which is Dexterity based, +1. Stealth, which is Dex based, +1. And because I don't wear any armor, that's not going to be bad. And Survival, Wisdom based, +1. Okay, that great axe that I've got, that's I'm skilled with it. It's a melee strength base, so that's +5 to hit, and it does 1d12 plus 3 damage. The hand axes, also +5 to hit, and that is 1d6 plus 3. And if I've got 2 of them, it'll be 1d6 plus 3 / 1d6. Javelins, +5, because they're strength based, 1d6 plus 3. And there's ranges and stuff too. I'm not going to worry about those at the moment. So that's what we have. Initiative is +1. Hit die is 1d12. Alright. Character's fitted out. Back to me. So, we have a finished character now. This is satisfying, knowing that this is a character that I will play. All the other character witnesses that I've done is, well, it's a bit of hypothetical. These are viable characters if I chose to, or could find a game to play in. Whereas, this is the character that I'm excited to play. I conceptualized it, I made this, I put it on paper. I'm excited to play this character. I think that Galhard will be a fun and memorable character, and that's really what I'm shooting for here. Somebody the rest of the party will appreciate his strengths and what he brings to the group, and hopefully when the characters gel together, he's going to figure front and center into what they can do. You know, if my character will probably draw a lot of fire, that's how he is, depending on what the rest of the group is, and I don't know what everyone else is playing. It may be that if there's somebody else who's better at taking fire, I may be that secondary character that strikes out at the sides and tries to take down other foes, like get in at the missile fire range and try to take out archers or skulkers that would otherwise, harass the rest of the group. My character could be the guy who charges through a rank of enemies to try to get at the wizard in the back. If he rages, I have to remember that I have a limited amount of time, and I have to continuously keep attacking and be aggressive to keep those abilities up. If I don't make attacks, my rage gets spoiled, and I only have so much of that to start with. My hit points, likewise. I only have a 14 armor class, which isn't fantastic. Not terrible, but it could definitely stand to be improved. I definitely want to get a shield at some point, but I'll probably wait till I pick one off of somebody's body. So my first shield that I pick up will probably be like an orc or a goblin shield. Who knows? As far as the idea of dropping a weapon and picking it up, well, I've got a variety of solid weapons. Right now, my best weapon is the Great Axe. So that is the weapon that I will only really pull out when I've got a significant opponent that I feel is a threat worthy of pulling out my best weapon. Otherwise, my character will start out with two hand axes in hand, and he will go and try to dish out damage, fell a foe, leave his axe behind, and pick up whatever the opponent was using. If he was using, say, a great sword, he'll put one of the axes away, leave the axe behind, and pick up the great sword and attack it. preferably leaving it in the body of somebody else and picking up their weapon. That's how it's going to be with this character. I don't know, it's just kind of an idea that I've become enchanted with. Is it the most effective? No. As a matter of fact, most people would very strongly say, well, you're going to constantly be buying through weapons, or you could end up stuck with daggers all the time. No, so be it. That's what Tamora wants to give my character. Then Tamora's will be done. With luck, that's going to add an interesting element where my character should not be caught flat-footed very often. And hopefully we'll be able to maximize his abilities to get him through things that lesser warriors would crumble under. I have to remember Stone's endurance. When I take a particularly hard hit that I wasn't ready for, I've got a cushion. My armor class will only increase if I get tougher. Every 4 levels about you get an attribute increase where you can raise something by 2. Well, I have to definitely look into Constitution and think, do I want to raise my Constitution up to an 18? That'll increase my hit points. That'll increase my armor class when I'm not wearing any armor. That's not a bad way to go. Likewise, I said, unless I find magical armor, it's not likely I'll find medium or light armor that's going to do much better than my own Constitution will. And if I raise that Constitution, I have even less of a reason to go with anything other than magical armor. Likewise, something that my character would appreciate would be some magical protection that gives me a different armor class, flat out. Only if it's better than what I get because of my unarmored defense. So, self-reliance, he can be very self-reliant. A lot of his inherent abilities give him an extra ability to continue to fight and be tough. As long as I'm smart and I remember to use all his abilities as he needs to do on the battlefield, this could be an exciting and fun character to play. The personality and thing that I've got down will be a challenge sometimes. Probably, this is not a character to be quiet. He will constantly be wanting to push his agenda of self-reliance and, perfecting the self and, working on killer abs and, all the other stuff that comes with it. Will it be appreciated by the party? Probably not. Am I going to be the kind of jerk who, grabs the wizard and is like, all right, we're going to start doing push-ups. I want to see 50 push-ups. No, he's not going to do that. But he will, if the characters fail at something, say, if you just go running with me, you could be in shape to avoid that next time. And I think that could be a lot of fun. I think the lucky thing will cover him on a lot of situations where otherwise I'd be looking at bad dice rolls, because that happens. My dice are middling. Sometimes they roll okay. Seldom they roll really well. Oftentimes they'll roll they hate me. Lucky should help that. The ability to get advantage on attacks by using reckless attack I think could really help. But I'll probably only use that when I'm raging or I'm flanking somebody and I think I can take them down as long as I know I hit. So, this is a finished character. Glad I could show him to you. I hope you were entertained by this. It's a different way of making a character than the ones that we've done before. And I will revisit 5th edition when we get to that point in our progression so that we can do a better job of looking over the evolution of Dungeons & Dragons, where it came from, and where it's finally ended up. This is the ultimate destination, but this is just a glimpse. We'll look in more detail when we get to that point in that particular character witness. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you the next time I have a case to bring before you. And now, I've got some research to do for 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons. Thank you. Farewell.